Katherine Johnson by Bethany Posh. In the 1900s, Virginia was a place of segregation. In 1953, Katherine Johnson joined the NACA to pursue her love of math. While she worked for the NACA, later known as NASA, Katherine helped with the Apollo 11 mission, helped send Alan Shepard into space, and helped send John Glenn into orbit. This opened doors to many women of color. During the 1900s, segregation was a problem in the U.S. Whites and people of color were treated differently. People of color had to use separate bathrooms, water fountains, they had to sit in the back of the bus, and had to go to different churches and schools. People of color had many challenges. Some were so afraid of non-colored people that they barely left their own houses. People of color also had poorly paying jobs. Some even took on non-colored people's laundry and cleaned their homes just to get enough money to pay for necessities like food and clothing. Katherine Johnson was one of the few women of color to go to college and get a BS, Bachelor of Science degree, in mathematics and French. Katherine was so smart in math that one of the math professors made special classes for her to attend and grow her love for math. Katherine was highly educated and was able to get a job teaching at a colored school to help support her family. Katherine loved to teach. During the year 1939, Katherine Johnson married James Goebel. Together they had 3 children, Constance, Joylette, and Katherine. During this time, Katherine had taken off from teaching to raise her children. At age 34, Katherine heard that the NACA, which stands for National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, later called NASA, was hiring African American women to solve mathematical problems. These positions were called computers. Katherine decided to apply, but the jobs were already taken. She wanted the job so much that she did not give up. She applied again the next year, and the NACA accepted her application. Katherine was unlike the rest of the computers. She asked questions about the problems she was working on. She didn't just want to do the problems, she wanted to know what they were for. Katherine started to attend meetings that only men were allowed to go to before. At first, the men just looked at her and questioned her. They thought that this was very unusual. An African American woman attending a meeting that was before only for men? Eventually, they got used to her being a part of the meetings. During the NACA era, Katherine would have to leave the Research Flight Division and go to the West Area Colored section just to use the bathroom and get things from her locker. She questioned NASA about her daily inconveniences. Eventually, she was able to persuade NASA to eradicate the segregated facilities on campus. Katherine Johnson also helped with the math for the Apollo 11 mission to bring the men back to Earth, and she calculated the trajectory to help put Alan Shepard into space. Katherine also verified the math calculations for John Glenn's trip to orbit the Earth. In fact, John Glenn actually refused to fly into space unless Katherine checked over the calculations to make sure they were correct. Katherine Johnson worked at the NACA and NASA for 30 years. She is most known for her work in Apollo 11 and for helping to send John Glenn into orbit. Katherine loved the work she was given in the West Computer position and the Research Flight Division. She was so good at calculating problems that once NASA got calculating machines, some people were skeptical and wanted Katherine to check over the problems and the answers. Katherine was also awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Barack Obama in 2015 for her hard work and her perseverance. While awarding Katherine the Medal of Freedom, Barack Obama stated, "In her 33 years at NASA, Katherine was a pioneer who broke the barriers of race and gender, showing generations of young people that everyone can excel in math and science and reach for the stars. Catherine's impact on NASA left us with the technology we have today. Without Catherine, we would not have the space knowledge and math that we have today. Catherine's impact left us with the power to send people into space and bring them back safely. Catherine has opened doors to many women and people of color by showing that you can do what you set your mind to do.